Oops. This is the title slide. We just went through that. Global Speaker Series, great. So my name is Ellery. I'm the staffing director at Where There Be Dragons, and I have led programs in 7 countries. So I have packed for all sorts of climates, and I have experience packing for everything from day trips to 2 years in Ethiopia. So all sorts of things. I also used to lead backpacking trips where I taught the participants packing beforehand. So we'll get into a little bit of the technical aspects of packing a backpack. And that is a little bit about me. So anyone who knows dragons knows that the explanation of our name is that map makers once drew dragons to represent lands unknown. Bold explorers who ventured to the map's edge were said to go where there be dragons. So a lot of the places you listed, maybe you're going off the map's edge, off the beaten trail. So how do you pack for that? That's what we're going to talk about today. So a little sneak peek, we're going to talk about choosing what to pack and then how to physically pack those things into your bag. That's what we're going to go over today with plenty of tips and tricks. So to start, we've picked some locations because what you pack is going to depend on where you're going. Does anyone know what country this is? You can type it into the chat if you think you know. Myanmar, great work, yes. And just, so we're gonna go on a 4-week trip to Myanmar. And does anyone know what these 2 neighboring countries are? Peru and Bolivia, perfect. So we are also gonna pack for a 3-month gap semester in Peru and Bolivia. Good work. So we have a very conservative, very warm climate, and we have a slightly less conservative and can get very cold climate. So we'll talk about both. So I just want to talk, when we're choosing what to pack, there's sort of 3 main things to keep in mind. That's what's comfortable. So like Lauren asked earlier, sometimes it's hard to know what you're going to be comfortable in when you're traveling. And so we definitely want to keep in mind comfort when choosing what to pack. The next thing is what's culturally appropriate. And we'll talk about why, and then climate appropriate. So those are the 3 things we want to think about. For Myanmar, it's going to be different than Peru and Bolivia. So that's just our matrix to sort of have in mind. If we pack something that's comfortable and culturally appropriate, but it's not climate appropriate, we risk being too hot, too cold, too wet, getting moldy, our clothes, being bug bitten, sunburnt, windburnt. These are all things that leave us not being comfortable and ultimately distract from the experience we're having. So that's why we want to avoid bringing things that are not climate appropriate. If we bring things that are culturally appropriate and climate appropriate, but they're not comfortable, you risk being unhappy and uncomfortable, which again can distract from the experience. And then if we bring things that are climate appropriate and comfortable, but not culturally appropriate, we risk being disrespectful to community members, which would make it harder to integrate, harder to learn from people, and harder to get to know people, which again is going to distract from the experience. So we're looking for the things that fit all 3. When you find them, that's what you want to pack. So this is overwhelming, don't worry. This and the next 2 slides are the Dragons packing list for a 4-week trip to Myanmar. And I want to show it to you not so you read the whole list, but to acknowledge that looking at a packing list alone can be overwhelming, but that we can work through it. And also to note that there are notes here on the packing list to help you figure out what's climate appropriate and what's culturally appropriate. So you'll see things like casual city clothes. When you'll spend at least 2 weeks in cities and towns, and we'll want some comfortable non-trekking clothing. students often report they wish they had more casual clothing. So that again gets to Lauren's point about wanting to have clothes that fit multiple scenarios, multiple moods, and multiple contexts. So if you're going on a Dragons program, you'll get a packing list like this. It's very detailed. Page 2, page 3. Again, I know it can be overwhelming. You don't need to read it all now. But it is all laid out there for you. And if you go through it item by item, you'll get there. I recommend printing it out or putting it in some sort of way so you can check things off as you pack. And then if you have any questions about the things on here, you can always reach out to us to ask. If you're not going on a Dragons program and you don't have a list like this, there are plenty of ways you can get them. You can look at travel guides like Lonely Planet or other guides to see what's climate appropriate and culturally appropriate. There are endless blogs about how to pack for every single location. I recommend looking at multiple blogs and comparing them to what you find about what's culturally appropriate and climate appropriate, because some people are more or less aware of those things. And another way to help is to look at program photos. So at Dragons, we have tons of photos on our Instagram, our Facebook, our website, for each place that we run programs. And if you're more of a visual learner, it can be helpful just to see what people are wearing. So, while this might be confusing and overwhelming, this can just give you a sense of the types of clothes you want to pack. So can anyone type in the box, like, what are you seeing a lot of, or what are you not seeing that would help you decide what to pack? Not seeing sweatpants. Yep. Not many shorts. Yep. The shorts thing might be confusing because it's Myanmar. It is very hot. Lots of lightweight clothing. Yeah, absolutely. So that's really what you're looking for. Lots of t-shirts. Yeah, for a place that is both conservative and hot. A lot of sneakers. Yep. You're seeing a lot of like pants like this. Very, very lightweight. Yeah, t-shirt, and you're seeing all shoulders covered, nothing low cut. Might have questions about this article here that is called a longi. You do not need to bring your own. They are very available in Myanmar. But yeah, this can just help to give you a sense of what's appropriate. And then I went through the packing list and laid out what it looks like so you can actually see it. So it is missing a few items, so don't pack solely based on my picture, but this is what it looks like to pack for 1 month in Myanmar. This is everything almost that you need laid out so you can see it. Hopefully it looks a little less overwhelming now. And now, so that was Myanmar. Now we're gonna look at 3 months in Peru and Bolivia. You'll notice the packing list is similar. Again, we have notes here for you about common feedback we hear from students. Again, they wish they brought more casual city clothes. So again, maybe in our photos, you see a lot of trekking pictures. That's why our packing list is gonna note that you want both. You want stuff for the city that you're comfortable in, as well as trekking clothes. Maybe you bring all, quick dry pants and you're just not comfortable in them. You don't wear them. So our packing lists are really meant to help you so you're comfortable the whole time. So again, a very long packing list. Don't let it intimidate you. You can work your way through it. And again, we have some photos for you. So similar thing here. What is different in the clothes you see here versus what you saw for Myanmar? Fleece. Yep. A lot of fleece. Anything else? darker or brighter colors, warm hats, warmer clothing. Yep, definitely warmer clothing. One other thing I will point out, again, I did not give you a lot of time to read the packing list, so don't worry about that. A lot of hiking boots, like real boots. For the Myanmar program, you don't need boots. For 3 months of trekking, you do need boots. But again, here there's a variety of trekking clothes and more just hanging out in a city or homestay clothes. So you'll want a variety. And here again, I've laid out everything you'll need for 3 months, and it actually doesn't look that different from what you need for 4 weeks. Pretty similar. Again, I don't have absolutely everything here, so don't pack based on this photo, but again, this gives you an idea. 3 months of packing. It hopefully helps make it feel more doable. And we'll talk about these are photos of trips I actually took. So this is my packing for 2 months in Southeast Asia, everything I packed. And then when I went to the Peace Corps in Ethiopia, this is everything I packed for 2 years. Clothing wise, it's actually not that different. The big thing for 2 years is I was packing things like a pillow and pots and pans that I could have gotten in Ethiopia, but decided I wanted to be sure I had to start with. So wherever you're going, there's almost no circumstance where you'll need more than what's in the picture on the right. But basically any Dragons program, you're going to be closer to what's on the left. So that just gives you a sense of what your final product looks like. And now some tips on what to pack. So the first thing is try to pack things you already have and love. So this is especially true of shoes. You do not want to buy new shoes for travel, especially hiking boots. If you find you don't have what you need, buy them as early as you can and wear them in, because you don't want to get blisters while you're trekking. That is a bummer. And again, this is true for all clothes. You don't want to buy new, like, fancy trekking stuff if you have something that will do, because you might get there and not find it comfortable and not want to wear it and be distracted by it. Also, if you're going somewhere really conservative and you're not used to packing that way or wearing clothes like that, bring clothes you love. If you love wearing leggings or shorts or a tank top, bring one of that with you. Maybe there won't be any places where it's appropriate to wear and you can just wear in your room at night. Maybe there will be occasions where you can wear it or ways you can wear it. So if you love it and it's what you're comfortable in, bring some, because it can help you feel like yourself when you're traveling, or help you connect to home if you're missing home. I would say, so first is bring what you already have. If you don't have it, try to borrow it over getting new things. And this is especially true of like big expensive items like a tent or a backpacking backpack. These are great things to borrow because they're big and expensive, and using one first can help you learn what you like and what you don't like, so that when you go home, you decide you do want to have this item, this tent or backpack, you'll know what you're looking for. And maybe it's different than what you thought originally, or maybe you don't need your own and you can share with people. And that's just a way to reduce how much we're buying. Next is to pack versatile items. So outfits that mix and match really well. If you care about your clothes matching, I'll show you back in this picture. You'll see here, all my tops are black or red mostly. All my bottoms here are mostly green and tan with some blue. So any of these will go together. You can wear any of these outfits together, and that just makes for it to be more versatile. You have to bring fewer items. Next is other things that can serve multiple purposes. So for example, Dr. Bronner's soap, you can use as soap, as shampoo, as laundry soap, as plenty of other things depending on how deep you want to go there. People use it as toothpaste. So yeah, just another way to reduce how much you're packing. And I always recommend a big scarf. A big scarf can be used as a blanket or around your neck or head if you're cold. If you're hot, it can also shade you. If you need a head cover, depending on where you're traveling, it can serve as that. And if you're somewhere where you really want to wear those leggings or tank top, but it's not appropriate, you can wear them and then wrap a scarf around you. Also, in some of the photos, you may have seen what I call elephant pants. So like these, they come in tons of different patterns. You find them all over, and they are very light and great for tropical weather, but they have a tendency to rip. And so if you have a big scarf with you at any time, if your pants rip, you're all set. You can wrap the scarf around you. I would say don't bring more than 3 pairs of shoes. You almost never need a 4th pair of shoes. So maybe that's hiking boots, city shoes, or sneakers, and a pair of sandals. Or maybe it's flip-flops, strap-on sandals, and running shoes. Whatever it is, you can almost always just have 3, sometimes 2, depending on where you're going. I also recommend a packable tote or backpack, something that folds up really, really small, doesn't take up space, and it's great to use at markets instead of getting plastic bags. It's great as a personal item for the plane home if you bought more stuff and need more space to keep your things. It's great for doing laundry. There's plenty of uses. It takes up almost no space. And most of you probably have a free one from some event with some brand on it, so they're pretty easy to find. Next is reusable water bottle, mug, straw, and utensils. This just helps so that you're not using as much single-use plastic while traveling, that you always have what you need. And it's also great just for airports and airplanes. You can fill your water bottle up. If you get food, you'll have everything you need. On the planes, they always serve coffee or tea. So if you want more and you have a mug, they will fill it all the way. Just lots of little tricks. Rechargeable batteries with a charger or things that plug into charge. So maybe a headlamp that plugs into charge, or a rechargeable little external battery. These are great things to bring with you. Definitely charge the batteries and all your electronic gear before you go. I also recommend anything with batteries, take the batteries out or put the batteries in backwards if they fit that way when you pack them, so it doesn't accidentally turn on and use all the batteries. A lot of the places we travel, you don't always have access to outlets or power, so saving that charge can be really helpful. And that goes for while you're in country too, when you're traveling around. If your headlamp doesn't have a lock button, then you want to, turn those batteries inside out or take them out so you don't waste the charge. I'm a big fan of Tupperware for plain food and for leftovers. I don't like to go anywhere without food, so I will pack myself a meal for the plane in Tupperware that I can reuse. I try to bring things that fit inside one another when they're not being used so they don't take up too much space. And it's also good for if you buy like a mug or something that's fragile, for when you bring it back with you. If you pack it in Tupperware, it's going to be safer. Reef safe sunscreen. Anywhere that has an ocean, please bring reef safe sunscreen. One tip is that often baby sunscreen is reef safe, but it's much less expensive than sunscreen that's marketed as reef safe. Definitely double check. Brands are different, so go look up what the ingredients are that you should be avoiding and make sure they have those, but often the baby sunscreens don't. And then I definitely recommend spandex shorts, bike shorts, compression shorts, something like that if you're in a hot, humid climate, because your thighs will thank you. And there are more tips on packing for a sustainable gap year at this link here. When I send the slides, you'll be able to click on it. So that is tips on how to choose what to pack. So again, you're going to follow a packing list. If you need help figuring out what that looks like, look at photos. and then mostly bring things you know you're going to be comfortable in. So that is what to pack. Are there any questions on how to choose what to pack before we talk about how to pack? Sleeping bags. Yeah, go ahead. What's your question?
I am a very cold sleeper, and my sleeping bag is rated to 0 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a Marmot, and I'm concerned that I would still freeze in the communities around Ollantaytambo and Peru. Is it a good idea to get a sleeping bag rated at least 15 degrees less than what you think the temperature will be, or how does that work?
So all our packing lists, if they require a sleeping bag, it says the degrees. So if it says 0 degree, get a 0 degree. If you know you're a really cold sleeper, I recommend getting a sleeping bag liner. It's super light, it takes up almost no space, and it really helps in terms of keeping you warmer. So that's what I recommend, especially if you already have the 0 degree bag and you don't want to go get something new. There's also plenty of tricks if you're cold. You can fill your water bottle with hot water, throw that in your sleeping bag before you get in there and sleep with that during the night. That helps to warm it up. Sleeping bags are really good at retaining heat. So if you put the water bottle in there, it adds the warmth and it'll hold that warmth well. You can, run around, jump up and down, do some jumping jacks before you get in your sleeping bag. That'll add heat too. But yeah, the liner really helps and is less expensive than buying a new sleeping bag. So that's what I'd recommend. It's easier to get warmer than it is to get cooler in a sleeping. I mean, you can obviously unzip, but that's what I'd say. Liners are great when you'll be exposed to warm temperatures from some, yeah, great point. So if it's colder in some places and warmer in others, the liner gives you more options. How big of a duffel bag or backpack would you recommend for a semester program? Great question. So it depends on the program. I'll go back to the Andes and Amazon packing list, and you can see it says exactly. So here it says we recommend a backpack at least 75 liters in size. So that is particular to our Andes and Amazon semester. You do a lot of trekking. But each different semester will have its own packing list with its own recommended backpack or duffel size. You can see here what all my shoes are on. This is a 70-liter pack. And I have a video later where you can see me packing it so you can see how big it is. But yeah, it depends on the semester. Great question. Any other questions for what to pack? Okay, if they come in, feel free to keep typing as they come up, but we'll start talking about how to pack. So folding techniques. People have a lot of opinions here, so hopefully everyone's opinions are taken into account. There is the roll technique or the Marie Kondo technique. So these images come from Marie Kondo, but they're very similar methods. Both the rolling and the Marie Kondo technique usually start with folding something in thirds, as you see in both of these top diagrams. And then with Marie Kondo, you fold it usually into thirds again. The other way, with rolling, you would just roll from there. I like this method. I often use it. You see the pants are a little different, but, and this is a hyperlink. So in the PDF, when I send it out, you can click on it and see all of Marie Kondo's folding guides. I usually use the roll method. Another method is the flat fold or bundle packing, which is this one. So again, there are two different methods, but they're similar. The bundle is you lay everything out flat, like in this diagram, and fold it all into one bundle that you pack together. The flat fold method is basically you lay things super flat and then fold as few times as possible. If you're using packing cubes, you want to fold basically the size of the bottom of the packing cube And this is supposed to be more space efficient and also better for preventing wrinkles. For the roll or the Marie Kondo, you want to try, so this diagram has everything in thirds, but I would try to get things the width of your packing cube or your stuff sack so that it uses space as best as possible. These are things you can practice. The more you do it, the better it will look. But also, if you're not very organized, if you're not a good folder, don't spend hours folding all your stuff before you go, because chances are you're going to be moving around, packing and unpacking, and you're not going to want to spend that much time folding it again. So fold the way you fold, and then you'll have the right amount of space in your bag. Because if you fold really well the first time and then not again, you're not going to have enough space to fit everything, and that's not what you want. The bundle method is great if you are packing to travel somewhere and stay there, but it's a little annoying if you're going to be moving around a bunch or living out of your bag, because everything's on top of each other and you have to pull everything out to get anything. With the roll or the Marie Kondo, it's a little easier to see everything at once and just pick what you need and put things back. There's probably many other folding techniques, but mostly I use the roll for any bottoms, and then I use a combination of the roll or the flat fold for tops. Jackets, I definitely use the roll. So where to put things in your pack. So we're going to be talking about backpacks here. If you're using a duffel bag, it doesn't matter quite as much, but you still want the weight to be distributed evenly. So with a backpack, we're going to talk about for travel and then for trekking, right? So you have to get to Bolivia or wherever you're going, and you also then might be trekking there. So how you pack is a little different, but pretty similar. So for travel, heavy things closest to your back, as you see on the diagram. Medium weight is next closest, light compressible items around the other items. If you're checking this bag, don't put anything in it that you can't go with for a couple days in case your baggage gets lost. And if there are things you will want right when you arrive, you want to pack those on top or in the outer pockets. Maybe it's really cold where you're going and it's warm where you came from, so you want to pack a puffy jacket. Make sure that's right on top, because you don't want to get to the airport and be pulling everything out of your bag. So you want it to be accessible. For trekking, bulky, light items that you don't need until you get to camp go at the bottom. So that's your sleeping bag, your sleeping pad, things like that. And that provides a good base for your bag, and it also props up for when you put the next heavier things that you want really in the middle, close to your back. So that's, again, heavy things that you don't need during the day. So maybe a tent, fuel bottles, things like that. Also, hydration pack. If you're using a hydration pack instead of a water bottle, that should also be right by your back. It's going to help make the pack feel lighter. And also, there's usually a sleeve for a hydration pack right in the back, so it fits where it's supposed to be. Things that you'll need during the day should go in the outside pockets or the brain. That's what we call the top of the pack, that like zipper pocket, or right on top, so that they're easy to access during the day. Things like water bottle, snacks, raincoat, extra layers, things like that. And then everything else just used to fill the space around what you've already packed, like the sleeping bag, sleeping pad, tent, things like that. And you just want it to be relatively evenly distributed. We say a well-packed pack stands on its own, so the weight should be such that the pack will stand up with you not touching it. And if you're looking for more on how to pack a pack or how to fit a pack, there's great resources from REI that are linked in here. The video is like 6 minutes long. I was going to talk through it, but they do a much better job than I would. Okay, tips on how to pack. So lay everything out first, like you saw in the photos I showed earlier. This is just a good way to make sure you have everything. You can roll it or fold it all first. Like I said before, if you print out the packing list or have it on a device that you can check things off as you go, Maybe you lay everything out and you realize you don't have a couple items, you need to go get them. You don't want to forget about it. So having an actual physical list or electronic list that you're notating as you go is really helpful. Put aside your travel day outfit. So what you wear on the plane counts as what you're bringing with you. So lay it out with everything and then set it out separately so that you don't accidentally pack what you need and then bring more clothes than you need. Put anything in your carry-on that you'll want if your luggage gets lost. So this is the same idea as the slide before with your carry-on. Any medicine you need, extra underwear, toiletries, things that you want for those first 24 to 48 hours while you're trying to buy new stuff in the city where you land or waiting for your bags to come. It's really, really important with medicine. Anything you're going to need for 48 hours, bring with you in your carry-on. Leave space for souvenirs. So maybe you do a really great job packing. Everything's perfect. Everything fits like exactly as it looks online when they're all stuffed and full. But you want to leave space for souvenirs. So if you're going somewhere for 3 months, if you're going to a country you've never been to, you're probably going to want to buy stuff. So make sure you leave space, or again, that packable suitcase, packable tote or backpack can serve as that purpose as well. I recommend packing in packing cubes. Some people like stuff sacks, some people like straight into the pack. Whatever works for you. For long trips, I like packing cubes because it's really easy to pull them out, unzip, and then just live in and out of them without unpacking everything and repacking it each time. I like to put pants and bulkier things on the bottom, shirts and lighter things on the next layer. Big items like shoes, empty water bottles, Tupperware, fill them with other things so they don't take up extra space. This is great for liquids. If you have a big tube of sunscreen, pack it in a plastic bag, but then also put it in a water bottle. Then it definitely won't get all over your stuff. You can do the same with sunglasses. If you have fragile sunglasses, you can wrap them in a bandana and put them in a water bottle or in your shoes, and it can help protect them. If you want to bring duct tape, cord, anything like that, you can wrap it around a water bottle, a tube of sunscreen, toothpaste, anything like that, and then you don't have to bring the whole thing. And now I have some videos to show the actual act of packing. So you saw the photo of all the stuff for Myanmar, and here's the video. So I'm going to give you a minute, just look again at the tips on how to pack. You're going to see most of these things in the video, and I'll talk through it a little bit as we go. It is sped up, so it's only about a minute long. Okay, so I start by getting my packing cubes out and then laying out my plain clothes. Take those out. Now I start with pants. I do the roll technique on the bottom layer of my packing cube. Big skirt, this one's a little tricky to fold. It's like a modified roll technique. Smaller items used to fill the extra spaces. With shirts, it's more of a flat fold. Fit a towel in there, and here's a jacket, one of those bigger items. And that is basically all of your clothes for a month in a medium-sized packing cube. In the next one, I put underwear, socks, bandana, things like that. Shoes at the bottom, then the clothes. Now I have another packing cube for just my little knickknacks, toiletries, things like that. Liquids are being put in a bag. And if you have big liquids, they're going to need to go in your checked bag. Smaller liquids can go in your carry-on with anything you want on the plane or right when you get there. And that's everything. That's a month. And now we'll look at the 3 months. Again, very similar, but we do have some bigger items, and you'll see how to balance that big pack. So again, everything's laid out. We start with the medium packing cube with pants at the bottom, all rolled. We pull out the plain clothes. Shirts are flat folded on top. And again, same packing cube, that's all your clothes for 3 months, with the smaller packing cube for socks, underwear, things like that. I'm packing sunscreen and bug spray into plastic bags and putting them in my boots because I don't want to wear them on the plane. That's the sleeping bag and sleeping pad at the bottom, along with the boots, helps to make a stable pack. Packing other items around that, then my clothes. There's my Tupperware that I fill with items. And now, just like last time, I have toiletries in plastic bags. That'll go in my carry-on. And now just close all those straps, tighten everything up, and it should stand on its own. Everything you need on the plane in the next bag, and that's it. That's 3 months. So what did you see? What was surprising? What do you feel like you might have problems doing? Any questions? Surprised all the clothes fit in the cube. Yeah, if you roll them up, if you fold them small, they do fit. And there are different size cubes. So my partner is a bigger person than me. He has bigger clothes than I do, and he uses a larger packing cube than I do. So we have a set. It's a large, medium, and small. And usually when we're packing, I put all my main clothes in the medium size one, underwear and socks and bandanas in the small one, and he'll use the big one. So it does depend on your size and the size of your clothes, but you really can fit a lot in the packing cubes. And once you kind of squish them and zip them up, then it keeps everything small, which I like. Stuff sacks work similarly. If you're trekking, you may want to use stuff sacks that are waterproof, but hopefully you have a pack cover as well. And I prefer the packing cubes. They either come in different colors, or mine has mesh on the outside so you can see what's inside. It also allows airflow if you're somewhere humid and things aren't drying perfectly. So it's up to you. What do you do with dirty clothes when you're trekking? Great question. That's one of the reasons that our packing lists say to bring Ziploc bags. When you're packing to go to the country, you can put your sunscreen, bug spray, things like that in those bags, and then you'll reuse them. So while you're actually trekking, the sunscreen and bug spray are going to be in outside pockets. So if they leak, it's not as big of a deal, and you can use those Ziplocs for dirty clothes. You can also use a stuff sack, anything where if they're wet and smelly, they're not going to make everything else wet and smelly. Or sometimes there's just different, like you can use an outside pocket of your backpack. Lots of options. Sometimes if you are doing laundry while you're trekking and things don't dry all the way, you can just clip them to the outside of your pack while you're hiking, and they'll dry in the sun through the day. You just want to make sure it's culturally appropriate. Sometimes it's not appropriate for your underwear to be hanging off your bag, but it just depends on the country. REI has great laundry bags. Good to know. Thank you, Elizabeth. You can store dirty clothes in them and wash them in the same bag. Yeah, so you can buy things specifically for the purpose of laundry bags. Also, this is where that packable tote or backpack can come in handy as well. Any other questions? I really recommend going through this exercise. If you were signed up for a Dragons program this summer and are super bummed you can't go, and you have your packing list, do it, practice, because packing is absolutely something that you get better at with time. And so the more you do it, the more confident you're going to be. You know, I'll show you again the photo. When I went through and laid out everything I was going to bring, so this picture from Myanmar, I've led 3 programs in Myanmar. I've gotten better at it each time, and I know what I'm going to be comfortable in. So I have, some really lightweight hiking pants that dry really fast. I have linen pants that are a little bit more formal, more comfortable in the city, but still really appropriate and really light. Shorts for exercise, for sleeping, for swimming in. Long skirt is a must for people who wear skirts. It just can help you feel more dressy, but still really appropriate. And it's really nice when it's hot. The wind blows them and it feels great. And then some pants for when I want to feel more like myself. And you see again with the colors, everything matches everything. It gets easier. Big scarf always. Tips for packing light on a semester program. Is it okay to pack more light than the packing list suggests? That's a good question. Let's just take a look at the packing list. So this is for 3 months. And it says bring a raincoat. You're gonna want that. Rain pants, same. Any item it says to bring one of, I would definitely bring it. If you find things that you think can fit two purposes, that's fine, but just think about it first. Like it says fleece pants and rain pants, and maybe you're like, oh, I could bring my snowboarding pants. That fits both. It does, but there might be times when you're at lower altitude where it's raining and you do not want to be wearing snow pants. So just think about it. 3 pairs of wool or synthetic socks. I recommend bringing the number of socks that any packing list says, because wet socks are a bummer and you want to be able to trade them out and let them dry. 4 to 5 t-shirts, at least 1 breathable, quick dry for trekking and the Amazon. Do not bring thin shoulder tank tops or shirts that reveal a lot of skin. Great. So it says 4 to 5. If you want to bring 3, that's up to you. It just depends. If you're really comfortable doing your own laundry and you bring extra Dr. Bronner's or laundry soap, I don't see a problem with that. I also, I'm a very light packer, and I don't see an issue in bringing 4 shirts for 3 months. It just seems, if you want to bring 3, go for it. You can always buy stuff in country. But 5 shirts for 3 months seems pretty reasonable. Lightweight long sleeve shirt, again, that's a separate item, so you want it. 1 pair of shorts, that's 1 item, you want it. 2 to 3 long pants. You could probably get away with, 1 pair of city pants and 1 pair of trekking pants if you're comfortable wearing the same pants every day of a trek. So yeah, I think it's okay to bring less if you know yourself and you'll be comfortable in it. And you can always call, if it's for a Dragons program, you can always call and ask. If you say, hey, this is what I'm thinking, we can always talk through that with you. And then with bringing more, we get a lot of students who wish they had brought less stuff. So if you find yourself bringing a lot more, I think it's fine. Lay everything out that you're considering and then go through, look at it. You can look at do all my tops match all my bottoms? If not, let's take out the ones that match the fewest things. If it's your first time traveling for a long time, again, I really do recommend bringing stuff you'll be comfortable with. Even if it's a little bit extra, bring that 1 top you love or those 1 pair of shorts, even if you're not sure it's going to be appropriate, just so you can feel like yourself. Are sweatpants appropriate for city pants? That depends where you're going. I wouldn't bring sweatpants to Myanmar because it's too hot. For some packing lists will specifically say to bring 1 nice outfit. Like this one says a nicer outfit is optional but could be useful for an event with a homestay or celebratory group dinner. So if you're trying to minimize what you're bringing, I wouldn't have sweatpants, and I wouldn't bring sweatpants as your city pants because they don't double as a nicer outfit. If you want to bring sweatpants as your city pants and then a nicer outfit, that's fine. Just make sure you're checking all the boxes. Great question. Other questions? We can look at it all again and see if you have questions. So again, this is our 3 months in Bolivia and Peru packing list. Is that a Q-Core sleeping bag? I believe it's a Thermarest sleeping bag. I don't know what a Q-Core sleeping pad is, but I'm going to look it up. Yes, it is that. So there's a bunch of different kinds of sleeping pads. There's the inflatable ones, and with the inflatable ones, there's tons of different patterns and styles. There's your like zigzag folds up foam one. And with the inflatable ones, there's different lengths. You can get 3/4 length or full length. There's all sorts of new sleeping pad technology all the time. So again, if you have something you like already, great. If you have never been camping really, see if you can borrow a sleeping pad, because you may not know what you like. But you can also go into any sporting goods store, and the people there can really help you out. If you want to pack lighter, so this is actually my partner's full length sleeping pad. I have a 3/4 length one just because it's smaller and I don't mind if my feet don't have a sleeping pad. It's just up to you and your preferences. Recommendations on city clothes? Yeah, so here I have, this is just a pair of green pants. They're not jeans. They're actually a travel pant material, so they dry quicker. They don't retain smell as much as some other pants. So these are really my go-to pants. I wear them in humid tropical climates as well as colder ones with maybe leggings or long underwear underneath. They're from Prana. Prana makes great travel clothes that look good and feel good, and they also have pretty good environmental policies, so I like that. This is a dress. It goes down to my knees, which is great for different levels of conservatism in countries. It does have a strappy top, so I would just bring a scarf that would match that pattern, and I could wear the scarf over it if that wasn't appropriate. I also have a light button-up top here, which would serve as my lightweight long sleeve shirt for the Amazon, but I can also wear it over the dress to make it more appropriate. And I have like a blouse-like shirt. Again, it's really lightweight, which is good for when it's hot, but it's full coverage and has sleeves. So with city clothes, I would say just something, again, that you're comfortable in, something you like wearing to school, and just that you know you're going to like, but that's also appropriate for the context. But yeah, biggest thing with that is just like you're done trekking, you've taken a shower, like what do you want to be putting on? And as long as that's appropriate, that's what you should be bringing. Yes, the brand of pants is Prana. You spelled it right. I will type it out. That's these green pants. It's actually also this dress. A puffy, big thing for the Amazon or for the Andes. And usually they pack up really, really small. So that's good. Any other questions? They can be as specific or vague or general as you want. I'll stick around for a few more minutes if folks have questions. If not, thank you so much for being here, and I will send out, like I said, the recording and the slides. So if you have to go, feel free to jump off. If you have more questions, happy to stick around. Do you have brand recommendations for modest, breathable, comfortable tops for hot, humid environments? Prana does have tops. Yep. Honestly, I get most of my stuff at thrift stores. So they have all the brands and all the styles, but I'm trying to think of other brands. I mean, anything from like Patagonia or North Face, companies like that. Eddie Bauer actually has a really great travel line, and they often have really good sales as well. They have a whole line of clothing that's like professional looking, but made for travel. So, like blazers that don't wrinkle, things like that. You probably won't need anything quite that dressy, but they do have a whole range of stuff. So yeah, I would say Prana, Eddie Bauer, Patagonia, North Face are all great brands. But I mean, you can find less expensive stuff too. Like you can go to Old Navy and check out their stuff, or again, thrift stores are going to have great stuff, just depending on your level of patience. Great questions. Again, happy to stick around as long as you have questions. Yeah, for professional stuff, if there's an Eddie Bauer near you, I recommend it. They also have really good return policies. But stores like REI, EMS, if you're in Canada, MEC is the equivalent. Those all are going to have stuff catered for traveling. And that's actually a good starting point, is a store like that, where you can try a bunch of different brands, see what fits you, see what's comfortable, and then you can buy it from that store or go online to that brand, and you'll see their full selection, but you'll know the sizing. REI is your second house. Yeah, totally. It's great. I live in Canada. We don't have it, but we have MEC, which is the equivalent, Mountain Equipment Co-op. It's basically the same thing, and it's great. If you have more questions, feel free to send them. Otherwise, thanks so much. Have a great day. Happy Monday.